Now, before you all call me insane, I've thought this through. What if Light Yagami was in Ninjago? Would he be able to beat the ninjas? Now, this topic of interest came to my mind after. Yeah, no, I have no defense here. Let's just get into it. Light Yagami, let us talk about him first. So, the rules are first of all that name and face rule. To kill someone, you must write their real name with picturing their face. If no cause is specified, they die of a heart attack in 40 seconds. You can specify a cause within 40 seconds and details of the death between 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And if the cause of the death is impossible, then the person will just die of a heart attack. There's a couple more, however, this is mainly what we're going to be going off of today. The main one being human, because as we all know, Zane, one of the ninjas, is a robot, but I will be classifying him as a human for this basis because of the fact that in Day of the Departed we saw that one of the droids, the min droids or whatever they were, was able to go to the afterlife or be departed, meaning characters like Zane and Pixel are now going to be considered some form of sentience or somewhat human adjacent. So when we're going to be talking about this entire matchup, we're going to be considering them as humans. Number two, we're going to have to consider the fact that most of the ninjas' names are public, however, their full names aren't public. For example, someone like Jay, his full name is Jay Walker. However, the public knows him as Jay, and in this case, Light is gonna be once again a normal schoolboy, just in Ninjago in this case, because that is the best way to make things fair, in my opinion. So, he won't be knowing all of this information like right at the gate. He won't know that Jay's full name is Jay Walker, or for example, Cole's full name. He won't know that. But he will know some exceptions, and we'll talk about that later. Now, Light Yagami, let us just talk about him for a bit, all of his personality traits. The dude is very smart. He has a bunch of deductive skills. He's very, very manipulative, and he is a people's pleaser to a certain degree. However, his biggest problem is the fact that he has a lot of ego, and that will play somewhat of a role for the entire matchup we're gonna have here. On the other hand, the ninjas, they can easily take down Light Yagami if they found out that he was Kira. However, there is some loopholes to that which we'll discuss later on. Though let us get into the setup, the scenario here. I've chosen a part between Crystallized and Dragon's Rising because I feel that that will be the most fair for something like of the sort of this. So no new ninjas, no nothing like that. We're just gonna be having the core six along with Sensei Wu, which he won't be there for long, spoiler alert. Now, first of all, we all know that Light's entire mentality, despite being killing criminals, is also somewhat of a selfish one in that he wishes to kill anyone who is in his way as well. So it is only logical to say that once he finds out that the ninjas are after him, he's gonna do anything he can to kill them. Speaking of which, let's set the scene for a second here. Light has been killing about a lot of Ninjago criminals here and there. The ninja are kind of figuring about it now, and hey, maybe they're on the press tour, which they wouldn't normally be, but they are popular in the Ninjago City area, so maybe they are. But from what we know, I can tell you for a fact, something or something's gonna happen. One of the ninjas is about to die now. I'll just let you all get 5 seconds to think to yourself who's gonna die here. Yeah, no, it's our beloved Green Ninja, because deductive skills tell us that Kaya Nia's name is not publicly known full name. Same with Jay, same with Cole, same with Zane. Lloyd, on the other hand, his name, Lloyd Garmadon, will be known by the public because of the fact that Garmadon was such a widely known and popular figure in the community for such a long time. We're probably gonna be seeing Lloyd's death very early on because Light has a name, Light has a face. That's all he needs. And the chance to kill the Green Ninja, the leader of the ninjas, his biggest villains in this case. Wow, he would be taking that at the end of the day. So, yeah, no, just 1 minute here. Lloyd Garmeron is dead, and behind him is Sensei Wu as well, because similar to that, Wu's name is just Wu, and everyone knows about Wu, and Light would probably want to get rid of him as quickly as possible as well. So, right off the gate, two of the main ninja allies are dead. But it's not over for the ninjas yet because of a certain character by the name of Zane. I'll tell you guys how now. So the main thing that is carrying the ninjas is Zane being a robot because of the simple fact that his intellect matches that of Ella and Mia, if not surpasses it. Just because of the simple fact that he's a robot. Now, if you all want some fact checks here, I'll give you guys some, I guess, things that Zane has managed to do in the past, which one of them includes in the future in Dragon's Rising. Zane actually once figures out where a certain person went just by analyzing how something blasted. He didn't even know where that person was in it, and he could still pinpoint exactly where that person would have went just by his deductive skills, which I know it doesn't make sense to many first-time viewers right now, but then it makes sense if you're looking at the scene. Taking that same logic and putting it here, I think Zane would very quickly realize that Light needs a name and a face to kill someone, and here we're gonna begin the same cat and mouse chase as we of course had with L, but I feel like over here, due to the simple fact that Zane is a robot and he probably has people like Pixel and Cyrus Borg on his side as well, I think Zane's gonna figure out that the Kira characters like Yagami, frankly, very quickly. I think even faster than L could, because L always had a suspicion on Light, but he just couldn't prove it. I think Zane, just because of the simple fact that he has so many more connections than L, and that he's a robot at the end of the day, would probably figure out that this is like Yagami very quickly in the matter of a week or so, if I had to say something. And in this case, Light might try to kill Cyrus Borg, but I doubt he would. He can obviously kill him if he wants to, but I don't think he would, because that would just out him as being the killer in this case, or Kira in this case. Now, what I think will go on from here is, as we all know, Light will probably continue his entire schmeek of now finding ninja names, because he's already killed Lloyd. It's only fair he kills the rest of the 5 of them fairly quickly before any of them truly get onto him. So he's probably gonna be looking for names now. I think Zane's name will be the hardest because of the fact that Zane's father is deceased, and all of that is from the Serpentine Wars and stuff. So he's probably not gonna find Zane's name just yet. However, what I am betting on is him finding someone else's name by now, Jay's name. And why Jay specifically, I have a very good reason for this as well. Jay was by far the most active during his years as a ninja. As we all know, even before, in fact, his years as a ninja, Jay used to make so many random inventions. He would literally fly around the city on gliders and just do random things like that. And I feel like all of that would naturally lead to Light just naturally finding Jay's name in a very short while, because obviously he's gonna be out there somewhere on the internet in some type of biography or wiki page. So now Light knows Jay's name, but now by now I'm guessing Light is also smart enough to find out that, yeah, no, Zane probably knows it's him by now. So I think what Light's gonna do is what Light does, and he's gonna make a broadcast similar to what he did in the show deathnote, where he's basically publicly gonna announce that he knows Jay's full name, and he's gonna basically kill him if the ninjas do anything fishy. And I feel like this is fully in character for Light as well. Light is the type of person to do something like this. He's emotionally manipulating the ninjas because if he didn't do this, I genuinely couldn't come up with any other way for Light to get out of the situation. I think this feels like something that Light would probably do, realistically speaking. So now, of course, there's a bunch of chaos. The ninjas will obviously not give up Jade to fight Light Yagami or arrest him. So, what I think is gonna happen now is we're gonna be seeing a lot more of spy missions from them because, of course, at the end of the day, they are ninjas. They are probably more trained than anyone was in Death Note in terms of combat, in terms of skill, in terms of stealth. So they can probably easily track down Light now at this point. And in fact, as we all know from season 8, Zane can basically transform himself into anyone he wants at this point as well. So I think it's a matter of time before Zane does something similar to what Nier did, where Nier just found Mikami's notebook and switched it all for a fake one, and then also, of course, switched another one for a fake one. But obviously, Light doesn't have that much time here. Light doesn't have that much time to think, or he doesn't know as much. So, yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna get enough time to do anything like that. But I think Zane could definitely get close to the notebook just through the simple fact that he can shapeshift into random people, gain Light's trust, or even if not gaining his trust, which obviously no one's gonna gain it, he could get a lot closer to Light, or just be Light for a while if he wants to, and get the notebook. But of course, by now, Light would have figured out the entire rule with the notes and how you can also kill people if you have their name written on like tear apart notes. So at this point, things could go a variety of ways, though I have come up with a conclusion that feels in character for most of the ninjas and for Light. I know most people won't agree with this, but I feel like this makes the most sense. Zane finds out about the Death Note. Zane touches the Death Note and sees Ryuk and realizes how Light's been killing. Now that's done. He probably does something similar to Nia, switching the notebook for a fake one entirely, or leaving a few pages for the next day or so to avoid suspicion. However, by now, Zane probably also knows, because he's a robot at the end of the day, that Light probably has taken some pages away. And at this point, I would say Light also gets a little frantic because again, this is not like L where he was the smartest person in the room or at least comparable. Here, frankly speaking, Light is outnumbered and he probably knows his end is near. So I would argue he'd probably go ahead and kill Cyrus, Borg, and Pixel in an effort to slow Zane down in his stuff, in his investigation, in the ninja's plan to stop Light. And by now, let's just throw this out there as well. He's probably found Cole's name too, because of course he was probably still looking for names. It's been a while since he revealed Jay's name. He's probably gonna find Cole's name by now as well. Though what I think is gonna happen now is slowly and steadily the ninjas probably just get onto Light and grab onto him and his ideas, and all of this ends in a very similar fashion to how we did in Death Note. Except here, Light is just in a room with superpowered people, and he tells them, and I've thought about this for a while, what he could do. He tells them that he's gonna kill Cole, but that by now he's also figured out that he can control people's actions to a certain degree before he dies. Meaning he could probably kind of try to manipulate Cole's powers into crashing the entire warehouse on the ninjas. Yeah, no, I don't think Cole's making it out of here, Chad. There's a reason I put Cole here because I feel like Light as a character would target Cole at the end of the day because Cole is a very exploitable person to Light. I think he is very down to earth, but his elemental power is the most useful as well. Light probably wants him off the team and off the earth, but he also obviously wants to make use of him. So I personally think what happens here is Light kind of just tells the ninjas that he's gonna kill Cole. And the ninjas try to stop him, but he does write their name before before he kind of dies. Meaning Cole dies. However, I do think Light cannot make it out of here because I know this feels like an anticlimactic ending, guys, but the more I think about it, Light is not surviving against the ninjas, I'm sorry to say. Despite everything I thought of coming into this, I really thought this would be a fair match. But when you realize that Zane is a ninjoid, and Zane has an intelligence level comparable, if not exceeding L, you kind of realize it's game over for Light either way. Yeah, no. So, to answer the question, does Light Yagami solo Ninjago? No, he does not solo Ninjago. Now, he does kill Lloyd Garmadon, for sure, and that is definitely an accomplishment, but yeah, no, bro does not. He does not get Ninjago solo. Thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If y'all want me to make more, like, weird content like this, please like and subscribe for more. I really appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for watching. Bye.